Hello, my loves. It is Colette, and I am here today with Kassi Grunder. Super excited to be doing our Rich Girls Inc. member spotlight with her today. She is an artist who has her own jewelry line, and she's a coach who helps people start their businesses. She's an amazing, powerful manifestor. She's traveled all over and lived all over the country and all over the world, and she's here in San Diego now, so I'm super excited to have her here. She's going to be facilitating some events. One is a creative workshop to get your creative juices flowing, and the other one is a courage workshop. So Kassi, tell us about yourself, about your adventures, about your life.
Yeah. This is so weird to be on video. A little bit about me. I'm from Alaska, and I've lived in San Diego for about 4 years now. I have always worked in the realm of social justice, and but I've also always been an artist. So I have a master's in peace and justice with an emphasis in conflict analysis and resolution, as well as a graduate certificate in global peace education. And I've been doing dialogue facilitation for about 10 years, but I've also been an artist since I knew how to use my hands, and so I pretty recently quit a really good desk job to work on my jewelry full time, and it's been really great. I've also been doing coaching, and when I started that, I didn't know what it was going to look like, but the people who've come to me, the things that people have asked me about are how to direct their businesses and how to make things, how to build a business that is most authentically them and that is a reflection of their unique gifts. So that's what I've been offering in the world. Creative endurance group that Colette mentioned. I facilitated one of those in Anchorage for 5 years before I moved here, and it was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, and really was an amazing way to build community and be in community with people. The idea is that sometimes as creative people who are, we're kind of on the front lines. We're creating things that are new and haven't been there before, and that can be vulnerable and scary. And sometimes we need some support in it. Sometimes it can be really lonely. And so it's a talking circle format that we get together once a month and have this pretty efficient vehicle for discussing and getting those things out of our head. And then the workshop on courage, I haven't set a date for that yet, but I know it's on the horizon. I'm getting the download from the universe that's coming up. I feel really called to help people to step into their courage. That's something that my life is about. So I'm excited to get to know some of you, and hopefully you'll come to some of my workshops, and maybe you'll come and check out my jewelry at some event. I have an event on Thursday. If you're around at the Lafayette, come by and have a awesome cocktail and check out some jewelry and check out some other makers. There's great stuff going on.
Awesome. Tell me about your jewelry, because she's talked to me about her jewelry line and how she picks out pieces and stuff. So tell me how you do that.
Yeah. So I really like working with natural stones and high quality materials. I don't use any base metals, with the exception of some of my more entry level pieces. So if some of the stretch bracelets will have a little charm on it that's silver plated. But all of my necklaces, earrings, that's all real materials. And I really like the energy of stones. I feel their energy. Other people talk about feeling their energy. It feels good to wear stones, even if you don't know what they're supposed to be for. Everything in the entire world has its own vibration, including stones. Just from a scientific point of view, everything is vibrating with energy. It's all made of matter, and so I really like how it feels to wear stones. So that's what my jewelry is made out of.
It's all. You made her necklace.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite necklaces. So one of the things that people always ask me about when I'm at a show is, how do you make this stuff and not just wear every single piece, and just instead of being a person with a business, be a person with a really large jewelry collection, which I am a person with a really large jewelry collection, incidentally. But there's not that many pieces that I make that I'm I have to have that. Usually I feel it. I'm this is going to be so beautiful on somebody else, and I get really excited about that. But this was a piece that I had to have. So all of my work is made with conscious intention that I want people to feel really good wearing it. I want them to be uplifted by the experience of wearing it, of having it, every aspect of it. I want them to feel strengthened by it. One of the things I've been working with a lot lately is I got all these double terminated crystals, and double terminated quartz crystals have they're like extra magical because they're magnifying energy and projecting it in directions, and they're super cool. My website's not launched, but I'm going to give it to you anyway because it's up there. You can see the pictures. It's the Melissa earring on www.kassigrunder.com. That is it's basically I want to see every person wearing that just for my own self-interest of wanting to see something beautiful hanging off of somebody's head. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually heard that the quartz crystals vibrate so high that it makes them solid.
I haven't heard that, but
they're super
awesome.
Powerful, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Do you have an Instagram?
Yes, you should totally follow me on Instagram because my Instagram is poppin'.
Of course it is.
It's Say Yes More Often.
Oh wow, that's a cool name.
Isn't that a good one?
Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that
Yep.
until just now. That's
Yep.
awesome. All right, is there anything else? Tell us about moving to Guatemala. She moved to Guatemala from Alaska and lived down there. Just tell us a little bit about that really fast.
Yeah.
I think that's a great story.
Yeah, so we've talked a lot about courage when we've talked. And also about intuition and following your guidance. And I'm really big on following my guidance. And I was working in this job and I was really miserable. I was not having fun at all. It was a good job. It was fine. I was doing really important work. I'm still friends with many people I worked with, but I fucking hated it. I cried every day. And I was really burnt out and I asked for a vacation. They were like, yeah, no, you actually can't take a vacation for 6 months. Even though I had plenty of vacation time, it wasn't that was an issue. They were just we just don't, no. And so I kept going, and by the time I took a vacation, I was oh my God, I went to Costa Rica and I was I'll go for 2 weeks and I'll be ready. I'll be back and I'll be okay. And I remember being on the flight back and I was I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And that was when I decided to quit my job, and I got back and I talked to my assistant and I was I let her in on the secret so I could train her in advance to make sure that she didn't get passed over for the job. And that whole time I've been saying to people every once in a while somebody would be, I'd been to Guatemala before. And when somebody would be snarky to me at my job, I'd say something if you're not nicer to me, I want to move to Guatemala. And one day I said it and I realized it was true. And so then when I realized, oh shit, I have to quit this job, yesterday, I was well, what am I going to do? I don't know what I want to do. I need to decompress. I need to do something radically different. And so I bought a ticket to Guatemala because I hadn't really thought it through. And I was I really like being in Guatemala. I learn a lot from being there. Being in Guatemala feels like a gift that I'm receiving. And so I felt I need to go back there, and I wanted to learn how to weave, and I wanted to be better at speaking Spanish. Still kind of suck, by the way. Still kind of suck. But I'm better than I was at both weaving and Spanish, although still I'm pretty sucky. But so I traveled for about 8 months in Central America, mostly in Guatemala, and then I spent a significant amount of time in Chiapas in southern Mexico, which I really love. And I worked with an artist group there doing bookbinding. Random thing about me that you might not know is I almost went to grad school for bookbinding because I'm a huge nerd and had not thought that through on how would I make money after that. And at the point that became a factor in my brain of oh, I could never make any money at all, zero. That was when I was oh, maybe I should do something different for grad school.
Who knew they had bookbinding degrees?
Right,
I didn't
yeah,
know. I
right.
had no idea. That's
right. So I got a master's in peace and justice. That's a lot better, right?
Yeah, very cool. And then you said you were freaking out the night before you left.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So I had this great place to live. I had ridiculously low rent,
She has a really cool manifestation technique that I'm hoping she'll share with the world. But that's a side note.
Yeah. So I had this really sweet situation. I had I hated my job, but I had a pretty nice life. And I was quitting everything, and I was going to live off my savings, and I didn't. There were 2 people that I'd met in Guatemala who I ended up seeing again, but they weren't my friends, right? They were my like random acquaintances. I didn't know anybody. I didn't really know Spanish. I could like order in a restaurant and get to the place I needed to go. And that was really about it. I didn't know anything. And I just felt like I had to go. And so we're at a coffee shop, if you couldn't tell. But so I quit everything, and it was like a night or two before I was leaving, and it was late at night, and almost everything was out. I had like my mattress, and I had like one box left, right? And I think I had my couch because somebody flaked out on picking up my couch, and it became like a big issue. But so I had like three things: a couch, a bed, and a box. And it's like 1 a.m, and all of a sudden I'm in panic attack. And I'm like, wait, it was like, it felt like a wakening up of like, all of a sudden I woke up and I'd been like in a sleep this whole time planning all of this. And all of a sudden I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Am I the biggest idiot in the entire world? Like, is there something wrong with me that I would think that this was a good idea? This is the most ridiculous plan ever. This is not even a plan. This is the dumbest thing anybody could ever do. And it's me doing it. What the fuck? And I was like, I didn't have a smartphone. I don't think I had internet anymore. And I was like, I need to read a book. I need a book. So I go and I rummage in this box and I find a book. And it's this book that my best friend had given me. And it's like, she's a really spiritual person. She has a guru, and it was a book by her guru. And sometimes when somebody gives you a book on spirituality and you're ready to receive it, it feels like such a great thing. But when somebody gives you a book on spirituality and it's unsolicited and it's by their guru and you don't know much about it and you're like, thank you. So it was still in the shrink wrap, and I had never opened it. But it was the only book. So I cut open the shrink wrap and I opened it, and I held it first, and I was like, I need to be efficient about this. All right, book, work with me. Like, tell me what it is that I need to know right now. Like, please, please, please tell me what it is that I need to hear right now to help me get to sleep and get through this. And I flip it open, and I flip it to this page that says, it gives the quote, the absence of fear, courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the knowledge that there's something more important than fear. And then it elaborates on that. But all I remember is the quote. I don't know who the quote is really from. I don't think it's from the guru. I think the guru was quoting somebody. Anyway, I have held that with me since that day, because I realized that, like, okay, I'm afraid, but I also feel like I feel called to go on this adventure. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is. I maybe still don't know, but I knew I had to do it. And so I read like no more than a page, and then I fell asleep, and then I fucking did the thing. And something else, I made a commitment to myself before I went. So I was going down there, and like, Central America, not super safe, not the most safe place in the world. We're not talking about like, oh, I'm going to like London or Paris or the south of France, whatever. Not that those places are super safe now. Anyway, but I was going to Central America. I knew I was going to go to Honduras. They had just had a coup. Like, I was going to be in some places where I might not be safe. And I made this commitment to myself that I would follow my intuition 100% of the time. Even if it was just like, you're supposed to walk on this side of the street, not that side of the street. Even if it was something that was like so little as like, buy the tomatoes from this vendor today, right? Whatever it was, I did it. And it meant that like, so I'm going to keep going on the story. Here we go.
Please do.
So I was in a movement part of my journey, and I was leaving where I kind of made my home base in Guatemala, and I was going to do some Central America exploring and then head up to Mexico to work with the artist group. And so I headed east. First I went to La Guatitlan and took a class on astral projection and lucid dreaming in a pyramid.
Wow.
That was weird.
That's awesome.
Also cool, but really, really weird.
Really cool.
Really weird. I'm pretty woo-woo. Can I do it? No.
Oh, okay.
No, but I'm glad I
Okay.
went. I'm really glad I went.
I took a workshop and I do it, yeah.
Yeah, I still
to
can.
practice.
I was there for like 10 days, and I'm really woo-woo, and that was like that. outermost edge of my woo-woo-ness, like, and then some. Anyway, so went there, then I went further east in Guatemala, and the further east I got in Guatemala, like, my plan was to go up to Belize and then go down to Honduras and then travel through Honduras and then go back up to Mexico. And so the further east I got, I started getting this funny feeling. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting this feeling. And it ultimately was like, I had some funny things happen that I feel like I just narrowly like got out in time. Like, had a really scary experience in Belize. Like, I was on a beach alone, and there was like nobody there because it was off season. It was raining, and I was like, there's nothing to do. I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna get wet anyway. It's like still like 80 degrees because it's Belize, whatever. And I'm on the beach looking at little shells. They have all these, like, and that beach has like these like tiny little shells that are really interesting. And all of a sudden, this scary, aggressive, drunk man is standing over me and saying these scary things to me. And like, I had to go to the police, everything, and I like pieced out the next day. So anyway, it was like that part of the journey was all about like, oh, gotta go right now. And I was planning on going to the Bay Islands in Honduras, and I was on a boat to get to Honduras. I was gonna have to take 2 boats to get there. I was on a boat from Belize to Honduras, and I don't remember the port name, but and then I was gonna be getting on another boat from Honduras mainland to Bay Islands. The voice in my head got so loud I could barely have a conversation with anybody. And by the time I got off the first boat, I'd met all these people on the boat, and they were super cool, like really interesting mixed group of people that nobody knew each other, but all of a sudden we were friends, like it happens when you're traveling sometimes. And they were like, oh, well, we're all going to the mainlands, come with us, we'll all hang out, it's going to be so great. And I was like, no, like, I was totally planning on going, and I landed in Honduras, and I was like, no, I don't know what it is. I can't go. Have no idea what it is. And so I went west, and as far west as I could get that day was San Pedro Sula, which at that point was the murder capital of the entire world. And I'm there by myself with no plan, nowhere to stay, no information about the city. I know absolutely nothing. But I could, like, I cannot tell you the relief I felt when I got there. I felt so wonderful in that city, because I had been in this like acute danger, and I don't know what it was, but I had felt it. And even being in the murder capital of the entire world, I was safer. Like, right after they had a coup, no less, right? And I was there for a night, and I was fine. It was like, definitely didn't want to stay there for a week, but then went on and had a great rest of my adventure. But anyway, intuition. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, for sure. It's really, really important to follow that. A lot of people, how many times do people ignore things and then realize later, like, oh crap, I totally should have followed that. And we distrust ourselves when really, like, that's our safety. Like, that's all we need, really. So awesome. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to tell us before we go, or? No pressure. I'm putting her on the spot right now.
Oh my gosh. Because I feel like there's so many things that I do want to share with you.
Yeah, she's amazing, you guys. Like, connect with her, ask her questions. She's in our group, so
I would love to be more connected. So please connect with me.
If you have questions for her,
add me on Instagram. I told you about my website, but I haven't told anybody about it yet because I still have to test all the links and make sure they work. But check it out. Definitely check out my Instagram. And if you are free on Thursday, come to the Lafayette in the evening. I think it's like...
Is that tomorrow?
Is tomorrow Thursday? I think you are right. Yes, it is tomorrow. Tomorrow at the Lafayette in the evening time. I think it's like 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 or something like that. But stop by, and they have like fancy mixed drinks, and they also have a workshop. If you look it up on the internet, you can find it out. They have a workshop on like room sprays tomorrow, which I actually have room sprays by the people who are teaching it, and they're legit. So anyway, you should totally come, and you should connect with me. You can find my email on my Instagram, or probably send me a contact on my website, but I haven't tested that yet. So
nice.
Go with
and
Instagram.
I'm trying to talk her into putting together a manifestation kit. So if that's something that she's really good at manifesting. So if you're interested, let her know, because I'm trying to like
Yeah.
get her to do it, because I think it'll be amazing. But she's like, I don't know. So
Yeah, if you want some help with a manifestation kit, let me know. We'll figure something out.
all right, have an amazing day. Keep creating rich and manifesting powerfully.